appreciate you being here today. Next, I'd like to introduce Don Worcester. He's our General Counsel for the Ohio Rights Group, and he's a co-author of the amendment. Don is an attorney and entrepreneur in Athens County, Ohio. He's worked around the world and is an acknowledged expert in the production of medical marijuana and industrial hemp. Don.
Good morning. I am an Athens, Ohio attorney and very familiar with both the issues of medical marijuana and industrial hemp, and I'll be here to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Yes.
Hi, before moving to Hagan in Colorado, and they passed an marijuana statute in the past 10 years. After it was passed, it became much easier. There was a lot more proliferation of marijuana, not among those who were sick, but just among the general population. How, if this bill passes, how can we make sure that this just won't lead to people who have no medical condition just smoking more marijuana?
Well, let me first start. The importance of what we did in Colorado was specific towards medical marijuana. That was the first initiative. And what they were trying to do is exactly what we're trying to do, to remediate or at least eliminate some of the problems of pain medication that many of the people that we're working with and that we've talked to and been associated with have. That's what we want to do. We build into this, at least in my bill, specifically, that we have safeguards in there. First, to make sure that a doctor prescribes it. Secondly, that they go to the Department of Health. Now, how you wrote that may be a little bit different than what my bill is. It's certainly not the same thing. But I might add this, and I wanted to get to that question right away, and the answer right away is it's this. When I testified over the room next door for this particular bill, one of the questions that came up was that we have a lot of studying to do. Well, I'm clear on one thing, and that is that when you offer a constitutional amendment, it pretty much solidifies the way that will read. My hope was that the chairman would have an extensive amount of hearings so that we can bring people in, people that have shown the success of using medical marijuana, and to convince other members that we in the legislature should be doing this. That doesn't fly well, particularly with that committee, because they're basically backing away from it. So what has happened is we allow the legislative process to wend its way through, but it stops. And so now the people speak up, and the people are saying that they want a constitutional amendment, and they're going to take it to the state of Ohio, where we know that 73% of Ohioans at this time support the medical use of marijuana. The answer to your question is that we wanted to build, and we will now build the safeguards into it as well. That's up to us, that there is an abuse. Now let me just talk about something that I also think is always missing. The war on drugs is the longest failed war that we've ever had. And the portion that I've always wanted to make sure that we eliminate is that end of it for marijuana. And when the studies have come in where 100 million people smoke marijuana and only 2 million people have actually gone on to cocaine and less than 500,000 go into the use of heroin, and now we're seeing an influx or an increase in the use of methamphetamines, it's still 100 million people are smoking marijuana. That doesn't mean it goes right into the other. So let me just back up and say the important element is that we in this piece of legislation, in this initiative, want to make sure that it takes care of, as I said, takes care of those individuals that are in pain, that are in chronic pain, and that we do everything we can to make sure that that's where it goes.